Hey everybody, it's Charles, your hobby hero, and today's going to be a little bit different. This is actually a follow-up video for what's going on with the C2E2 stuff. If you're not familiar with what happened there, you can check out the other video I did here. I don't want to go too far into it. So one of the owners, administrators of Black Flag Comics made a live video right after everything kind of exploded, and just kind of his train of thought when it came out here. Wanted to watch the video with you guys, kind of break down what he's saying. It is a long video, so I apologize. This will be a long video as well, but just kind of really address his points and his thoughts on the comic book industry as a whole and kind of his approach to it. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the video here.
My life has spiraled out of control. There is stuff that I had no control of
I mean, he had complete control of the situation, but we'll get into that.
In my life. And on top of that, now Clayton can't show up to the booth. So we're doing 2 Comic-Cons back to back. We're doing C2E2 and tied up in these new acetates that we're dropping. I mean, through the design process, through collecting the materials, to making sure the artwork was done right, the back and forth, and it was just, I mean, it was this. Now, I'm gonna do a shout out. This was April's idea.
So we're blaming April now at this point in time. So I believe April is the owner of Black Flag Comics. Like I said, I was trying to find out who this guy was. April's name was the only one that popped up. We're already kind of diverting and kind of talking about who else is at fault here for the situation.
So I'm going to give credit where credit is due. The acetates were completely her idea. So moving on. I mean, I don't even know how I made it here. So the whole time on the trip, we drove 22 hours overnight. Nobody slept, get here. We have to do the setup and everything. So everybody's exhausted. The whole time on the trip, I'm thinking, man, I have got more money tied up in these books than you could even imagine. When you do a print run from Marvel, and then on top of that, you start doing crazy acetates and stuff like that, no copyright infringement, anything, it's an American flag, this, that,
I don't know about no copyright infringement. I mean, you're definitely taking a Marvel product, granted the one that you own, and you're definitely modifying it and rebranding it as something new, even though it's not. So while it may not be a copyright infringement, I don't necessarily know that it's not frowned upon.
Using any Marvel stuff. I'm not using any DC stuff. I'm just using stuff you can find laying around your house or at the local flea market. So, but anyway.
Keep in mind that these things that he found laying around at the local flea market apparently justified an $85 original asking price for this. So I'm not sure what he's trying to set up here. Like, he's kind of talking out of both sides of his mouth about how difficult this project was, but then how simple the design for the whole process was, but still asking $85 at the convention for it.
They look dope. I don't know what people are going to do. These things cost a lot of money to make. I know the price tag is high.
So, case in point, he just established that these things were very simple to make, that they used their old inventory and they just slapped some acetate covers on there without any copyright infringements. But apparently now it's very expensive to make, and that's why the asking price is justified at the convention.
On them, but I have to recoup my money. But one thing though, everybody knows Black Flag Comics are dope. That's why we're all over social media. Everybody's.
Fun fact, they have turned off all their commenting on social media after this, and have taken this video down since then. So probably the best things they've done so far, but I did find that humorous, that he's all over social media, which you cannot get a comment in on their social media.
mad because they couldn't get their comic book. They couldn't spend $100, $85, whatever, and they can't go online and make $300.
All right, so this is probably the most tone deaf aspect of it right here. Is that he thinks that the majority of the comic book community is flippers, people that are just in it to make a profit, and that the only people who wanted his books were people who wanted to buy them for $85 and then sell them online for $300. That is not the case. The vast majority of the comic book community are collectors. The vast majority of people who are buying exclusives are collectors. They're a very small minority of people at the top, so it's more visible, that are buying these things to turn and flip them. So I mean, he's kind of calling everybody who's upset about this a big crybaby at this point because they don't get to make money off of his product, and just again not what you want to be saying.
So I had a lot of stuff. I was here, there. I just wanted one for this, that, and the other. Okay, I wish everybody could have one, but the cold hard reality and the cold hard facts of this is my money on the line. I need my money now more than ever because everything else that's going on. So on top of that, I'm like,
for those of you guys out there who are wondering, if you are in a profession where you find yourself as an owner and your money is invested and your money is at risk, your consumers don't care. They do not care. You should never use that as an excuse to justify an action because you need money. There's no empathy there, and there's certainly no sympathy for somebody in that situation. Just avoid it. It may be the truth of the situation, but nobody cares.
Okay, I had a bunch of influencers. Guess what? I was one of the original influencers. I used to do this. I was the guy standing in line. I was the one picking these books up so you all could get them. A lot of people can't make it to these shows. So shout out to all the influencers, aka flippers. I guess
I'm not sure why he conflagrates the two here. Just because you're an influencer does not make you a flipper. I do think that flipper has kind of a derogatory term here, which I don't think he's meaning it to be. But most influencers can have revenue streams on their own. They don't need to go buy the new hot book that's out there to try to flip it for a quick buck. Now, do some influencers do that? Absolutely. But I think it's odd that he just says everybody who's an influencer is also just synonymous with the flipper at this point.
Flippers is influencers now. So I'm trying to use the correct terminology. So thank you, influencers, for supporting me. Had a bunch of influencers reach out to me. Hey, Jason, I want to buy so many copies of your book. I want to buy so many copies of your book. I'm like, all right, I'm staring 750 books. I've got X amount of dollars tied up in. I'm like, okay, I can sell you this many. I can sell you this many. I can sell you this many. So now everybody's saying, all these people are cutting in line. The influencers are coming in like rock stars. Bro, these people already bought the books.
All right, so here's a big problem too. You have a book that's a con exclusive, which means it's sold exclusively at the con, but now he's basically admitting that he had pre-sold these. There was a pre-sale before. It was never announced that there was a pre-sale. It was never announced, hey, get in before the con opens. None of that stuff. So, I mean, he is coming out and basically admitting this was, a backdoor deal, which are going to happen, but he's coming out and telling everybody like they should be okay with the fact that he's, letting them behind the curtain to see this. And also goes counter to what a lot of the influencers that bought these copies were saying, which was they waited in line to get their copies as well. They didn't jump the line. But now he's saying that they were allowed to jump the line because they pre-sold the book. So, the inconsistencies are definitely not going to help the situation.
I was just getting to the booth. Yeah, they've already paid me. I got their books set aside. They're coming over to pick them up. So that's right. They come on over. Now, if you're standing back here, there's only 40 people in line. I've got 750 books to sell.
There's only 40 people in line at the very beginning of the con. If your intent is to sell every single book that you have within the first 15 minutes of the convention being open, that's kind of a ridiculous business plan.
So there's like, well, there's 40 people in line. Guess what, bro? I got 750 books to sell. 40 people are not going to pay 750 books worth. That is a lot of money invested in this. So fortunately, the influencers know that Black Flag Comics is dope. Our books bring money, bro. Our books bring money, and I'm glad. I want everybody to prosper. We live in America. God bless America. God bless America. And speaking of God bless America, this guy loves America. Not Austin. I'm talking about Venom. But do you love America, Austin?
I love America.
There we go. So we got a lot of American love going on here. So we live in a free society, a free country. I see business opportunities. You know,
yes, we do live in a free country. All that good stuff sounds great. Again, though, it's not an excuse to do whatever you want. Yes, you may be able to do whatever you want, but that does not absolve you from, the court of popular opinion, which, kind of feels like he's asking for right now. It's like, hey, I can do this, so why are you guys mad at me for doing it? Again, this guy is pretty tone deaf to the crowd and the audience of the comic community right now that's around him.
Take it, because I can't lose my Patuska. So anyway, it comes down to it, we're in line. And then everybody starts going, I want 20 copies, I want 30 copies. I'm like, okay, this is great, and I'm getting elated, and I can't keep up. We got so many people selling. Then all of a sudden, I'm looking for one book, and I'm like, oh crap, we're out. We're out. I'm like, holy crap. And everybody's like, bro, your book's going for like $300 freaking online. And dude, the show floor has barely even opened. Dude, that's the way I know I'm bringing you quality books.
So again, hyping his own product in the middle of his excuses on why this happened. The fact that this book, for whatever reason, is now selling for $300 somehow justifies all the actions prior to this point in time, as if he knew. If the book ended up being a total flop and was selling for half of what they were charging up there, it still would not excuse, his behavior on up to this point.
Free time. So I'm like, great, all these people are you're making more money than me. That's amazing. This is this is a free capital society. So this is awesome. And people who are sitting at home, wherever in Hawaii, they can get copies of this book. Some people don't like Black Flag. I know it's hard to think.
I know that number has gone up significantly since.
But some people don't. Some people hate us. And they don't want to buy a book from us. So they'd rather buy it from the other guy. And that's great. So I'm glad you get a copy of it as well. So it comes down, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, oh crap, I'm sold out. So even one of my best partners in the industry, and when I say partner, I mean just a very close associate, another dealer, he's always great, fun to work with. I promised him some books. I had to sit there and tell him, bro, I had to pull some books from your stash. I could not.
So we have somebody else that this is the long box that mysteriously appeared at the end. Apparently was also being held for someone else. I don't know how many books were in there. So out of the 750 con exclusive books, we're probably down to around 500 or less that were ever intended to actually be sold at the convention. Everything else was spoken for. It sounds like before the convention, possibly even more.
Sit here and look at all these people standing in my line going, I didn't even get one. And I saw the faces. I'm like, I have no choice. I had to leave him some. I cut his order over half. And you know what? He said, thank you. Thank you, Jason. Thank you for having some for me. So instead of the thank you from this, I know you're going to catch it. So I go ahead and I'm like, all right, I'm going to limit this 2 per customer, guys. So, all right, 2 per customer, and we go through, and guess what? Other people coming in, some of them didn't get books, but that's the name of the game.
He failed to mention that they also increased the price here. All accounts say that the second wave of books that came out were at $100 a piece, now with a limit too. So at $85 a pop, he was happy with the profit margins. But now that's a free capitalist society and everybody gets to make their money, and he knows it's selling for more online. He's bumped the price up from $85 a pop to $100 a pop. so that people don't have to walk away from the line without a book.
Man, there's so many books that I've wanted to get. When I get there, if it's gone, guess what? I move on to the next. I know there's another convention. We're in Boston next week. So I wish that I could make everybody happy. But it's just impossible to make everybody happy. So it was a smashing success. There was a lot of heartaches, a lot of dramas. As you can see, I'm walking, I'm living, I'm breathing. I'm at a Comic-Con right now. I've got happy shopping individuals everywhere. There's all sorts of cosplay and stuff like that. Life is great. God is good. He gives me another breath a day, another chance to carry on. So now the announcement.
So, cut a lot of this out of here. I'd recommend going to watch the full video just because the comments that are streaming through here are hilarious. But he's mostly just talking about random stuff for several minutes. Going to Philadelphia, introducing some of the people working for him, and touting about some of the other vendors in that area. Nothing really related to any of the C2E2 issues.
So, all right. So now the announcement about Boston. All right, guys, getting ready to break the internet. Let's see if we can cover all these other posts up with this post. I am dropping 2 more acetates.
And here is where it comes full circle to how oblivious he is to the situation that he's in. This book has probably become the most hated topic that's out there, and he's trying to capitalize on that by, hey, you guys really hated that book. Well, guess what? I've got 2 more under the exact same pretenses of this book that makes you hate it so much. I've got 2 more books coming out.
For Boston. 2. It is Ghost Rider and it is Deadpool. Oh my gosh. The print runs on these are less than half of what we had for Ultimate Fallout 4.
So again, one of the biggest issues for this book, and the reason why it became as big as it was the availability of this book. And he is hyping that this one is even going to be less available than the book prior to that. I mean, again, just completely missing the whole point of why the community is outraged at this point.
So the print runs, hear me, less than half. These books are going to be so freaking scarce, and they are some of the dopest freaking covers I have ever seen. So there is going to be a bum rush to get these. So I've been praying and thinking about all this and how to try and make this fair. The influencers who support Black Flag, I'm going to set aside a portion for them, and I'm going to try and portion it and divvy it out. They may not get as many as they want, but that's okay. You know, life goes on because we got 3 exclusives. So I'm talking about the acetates first, and I'm going to move on to the other. So we got Ghost Rider we're going to drop on Friday. We've got Deadpool that we're going to drop on Saturday. So we're gonna, that way nobody's gonna come in and scoop them all up. Some people can't get in, they can't get in until Saturday. So if they miss out on the Ghost Rider, at least they've got a chance at Deadpool. So I'm gonna set aside some for them. The other influencers who come by and shop who don't know me on a personal level, I'm gonna set up a separate line for them where they can buy up to 10 copies. And however many influencers get there and then get their 10 copies, amazing. The other line, I'm setting aside 100 copies, individual copies, for the comic book collectors and the fans and the people who just...
So we have already taken a book that's rarer than the Ultimate Fallout 4 with distribution issues, and with a 350 print run, he's basically telling everybody that if you don't know me, you are only going to have access to 100 copies of this book. So he's even squeezing it down to that much more to create this serious FOMO, which is a lot of the reason why people are getting angry right now, is how they are manipulating the market through creating this fake scarcity. And he's going to have 3 separate lines for individuals, like your influencers that know me really well, your influencers that don't know me super well, and then your average collector. And the average collector pile, which is much larger than any of the other 2 piles combined, they're only going to have access to 100 copies, while the much smaller pool of people in the grand scheme of things is going to have access to 250 of each of these. Again, just completely missing the point here.
Just want to put one in their collection. I'm going to open both lines up at the same time. I'm going to have 100 set aside for all the collectors, 10 for the influencers, my buddies, the people who support me with the big cha-ching. I'm still going to make sure that you've got your copies available. We're going to do the same thing Saturday morning when we drop Deadpool. Guys, you know, I'm telling you what, hold on to your pocketbooks. These are expensive, bro. These books are going to be over $100. But
and again, this is him selling into the hype. I've got to think if the Ultimate Fallout 4 book fell flat on its face and the resale was not there, that these, you know, slapped together con exclusives would probably be much cheaper even than the $85 price tag. But now that they've created this artificial hype market, they're going to sell into it and be selling these for even a higher premium and a less of a margin for the influencers. And for your average collector who just wants a copy to keep, now they're paying that much more just to have access to the book. It's just not good business, especially not when you're spelling it out to the individuals.
And these books are probably, by the time somebody checks out a line and gets out of the other end of the line, and I'm keeping none of these. I have 0 of these Ultimate Fallout 4s left. 0 except for the graded copies. These things are selling for $300 plus, bro. You know how much money I can make? I'm glad you're making money. I'm not here to die rich. Rich men don't get into heaven. I'm just trying to pay bills, bro. I'm just trying to pay bills. And I'm telling you, these are north of $100. So I don't, I can't believe the price gouging and this and that. I'm telling you live right now on Facebook. You can post this everywhere you want to. Micro runs. Over $100. If you want to buy one, buy one. If not, don't buy it. It's okay.
I do find that humorous that you can post. He says to post this everywhere, and then they took this video down, obviously because they're just full of, one, misinformation, but two, bad information for a company to be sharing this openly about, you know, how they make decisions. Yeah, I mean, every company's got to make money. Nobody here is saying that, hey, don't make money and we get all the benefits. But, you know, just like when I talk about, like, you don't want to see how the sausage is made. Like, we want the product. We know stuff is happening behind the scenes to make the product profitable for you and enjoyable for us. We don't want to see all the stuff that's back there, and we don't want it to negatively affect us. This has negatively affected us, and now you're talking about, like, well, this is why it negatively affects you, and you should be happy about it because that's just how stuff happens.
These books are probably going to be $400 or $500, especially all the hype around this book. ABC News is doing a news special on Black Flag about this. The corruption, the deceit. No, I'm just kidding. But it would be cool if ABC News did one. If everybody knows everybody at ABC News, pass this along to them. I think the publicity helps. But I know what helps even more is the love and compassion from all the faithful customers that Black Flag has had years and years and years. All the people that have supported us to get us to this level. And at this level, we still bring you the highest quality books possible. And that's the reason whenever you go to sell your collection, whenever you go to trade your comics, whenever you go to flip to make money, to buy your books and still put money in your pocket, and it's like you paid nothing, what booth do you come to? You come to Black Flag because our books are dope and our books make people money. So, anyway, above and beyond that. Whew. All right. So, Boston, the other book that we're doing, we have a Venom that we did over 2 years ago. We have sat on it for over 2 years. There is a Venom cover, 2 years, nobody knew about, nobody has seen the light of day. That is going to be our release that we're running through the weekend. So that's going to be our drops. There's going to be no limit on those. We've got quite a few of those. I think there's a little over 1,000 of them. So we got a Venom book.
So again, more old inventory that they're selling, which is fine. It's their inventory. Sell your inventory, make the money off of it, but you know, this repackaged old inventory and calling it something new is creating a lot of issues, both with Marvel, both with CGC, and on the whole, like, the comic community does not like it. So I'd stop, if I were you, advertising how you're going to just keep doing this in order to make that money.
I'm not going to do a limit on those. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll set aside 100 of those too, because I know there's a bunch of Venom fans. I'm just trying to make sure everybody gets what they want. So you know what? I'm making an executive decision here right now. I'm going to set aside 100 copies of Venom that I can only sell one of. And I'll do that opening day for, let's say, like the first 3 hours or so, till people get in. Because if people start buying carloads of Venom and this, that, and the other, I want to make sure everybody at least still has a chance to get a Venom. So I'm going to do that as well. So all of our exclusives, I will definitely make sure there's 100 set aside for the collectors. And then all my other buddies, reach out to me about the Venom. And the influencers, just check us out at Boston. It's going to be amazing.
Again, like, he just keeps talking about it. Like, he just keeps... the thing that everyone's so upset about, he just keeps announcing that he, hey, all my buddies, talk to me about it, I'll hook you up. I'm like, I get it, it happens. No one expects it not to. Like, don't talk about it. Certainly don't blast it over Facebook Live right after everybody gets mad about you hooking up all your buddies with the book they wanted. So he goes on for a while about Cristiano da Costa, a new artist that they have at Black Flag, just kind of talking about some of the projects that he's working on, showing off some of his art through here. Again, just talking about other stuff other than the main controversy that's happening there. Again, if you go watch the full video, you can see it, but he goes on for a couple minutes about this new artist.
Cristiano and I are working on a super top secret project in the background. I'm still not sure if I can announce this publicly. If you ask around, you can figure out what's going on. But Black Flag is transitioning a little bit from the comic book world. And not that I'm leaving the comic book world. I will never do that. But I am getting a little bit older, a little bit more suave, trying to get things a little bit more, I don't know. At a 52-year-old's age, you should be doing better things. You should always be improving your life. So I'm looking at getting into fine art. Okay? So
couple things there. Like, he may not think he's getting out of the comic book industry, but he may have set up his escape parachute from the comic book industry a little bit in advance. I do find it also humorous, talking about being 52-year-old and being more suave, after basically unloading every trade secret / under the table dealing he's done in a 20-minute video clip. Very interesting. Obviously the fine art stuff is another market entirely for most of us. If he does transition into there, I would assume most of this stuff will probably be done under a different brand or branch of Black Flag.
Black Flag Comics has had your support and everything else. We are going to have a destination place featuring fine art from around the world, from everyone you can think about. There might even be a little mouse involved. There might be a little duck involved that has a speech impediment. And I'm talking about statues, fine art glasswares, original art. It's going to be amazing. And bro, how could I ever think I would get here? I mean, me, the little guy from the ghetto. I'm the white boy from the ghetto, by the way. Yes, that's me. How did I ever get here? Now, like all these other dreams, but guess what? Reality still sets in. Still an ultimately crappy week, but yet one so blessed. And I'm blessed to have friends like Cristiano supporting.
So I get it, like that, it's been a crappy week PR-wise for you guys, but clearly if it had been like a really, truly crappy week for you guys, you would have addressed what made it a crappy week, which was setting aside stuff for, elite customers, making a product that the comic community does not like that it even exists, and putting out these crazy quantities to create a sense of urgency and FOMO on it. Like, if you really had a crappy week, you wouldn't be doing this again. Unfortunately, you saw a lot of dollar signs from selling 750 copies of these for the $85, and you're using this momentum to hype up the Boston show that's coming up to capitalize on it again. Again, if you were truly in a bad spot, you would have addressed this stuff, but clearly, you know, the bottom line is more important than the feelings along the way, which again is fine. I don't know how to go announcing it to everybody on social media though. So I guess the new owner of Gold Key Comics is introduced here. He talks to him for a couple minutes as well. Nothing really, just kind of shooting the breeze, and you know, obviously drawing the comparison that now the guy who owns Gold Key is working at the booth at Black Flag.
So guys, I'm leaving on a positive note. My heart feels a little bit less burdened. I hope I've answered all of your questions. I do listen to you guys,
but you don't. That's the problem. Like, and hopefully, you know, you guys are making some adjustments. I mean, this is dropping, you know, as the Boston Comic Con is getting ready to launch or has launched, and you're not listening because everything that they're angry about, you've talked about in this video, going to do exactly the same, if not worse, the following weekend from the C2E2 catastrophe. So I'm hoping, you know, we've gone back, we've game planned, and we've changed that, but that will be, I guess, seen after this weekend.
Oh wait.
Did you show them the original art for sale up there?
What original?
Clayton's Remarks.
Oh no, we can go over there though. Thank you. So anyway, thank you so much. I'm going to go over here and do a little loopsie-doo on the other side. We do have some original art to try and compensate for a lack of some of the material this weekend. So we have this original Joker, 9.8. A My Little Pony original sketch, 9.8. We've got the Taco Venom Deadpool for sale. We have a 10.0.
So we've now hit on all the issues that have upset the community at this point in time, which is also the fact that CGC is not only giving these blue labels, but because they have an acetate cover on them now, the new cover is what makes the grade, which makes it very easy to get a very high grade on these books, i.e. the 9.9 and the 10.0. There's some speculation on how consistent that grading actually was, because I guess there were two orders, and the two orders came back with the exact same distribution of 9.8s, 9.9s, and 10s. So, but you know, you gotta work it into the video too, in case you weren't already upset by any of the other stuff that had been discussed. Here's also the CGC slabs that we have that we were selling as well.
10.0 copy of the Ultimate Fallout 4 acetate edition, 199 left. We have the Homer Simpson Deadpool. Look at that donut, the donut signature, and Mickey Mouse Gwenom vs. Carnage with the one and only Walt Disney signature that Clayton's ever done. So now, like I said, I'm going to be signing off here. I'll try and scroll through the video to answer some questions. Guys, I don't want to hear any more hate. All I try and do is love. I ignore hate. If you put hate up online, you may get a feeding frenzy from other people. You're not going to get a response from me. I delete you. I block you. If you want to be blocked,
This may explain why they do not allow commenting on any of their social media right now, because he's just effectively blocked everybody that could be commenting. Again, it's not about hate, man. Like, it's feedback that you're not listening to, and the more feedback you get, the more combative you get. That's never going to help. So I mean, it's not hate, and to spin it, you know, as okay, I haven't done anything wrong, you're just hating, is really just, again, very, very tone deaf on your part.
Well, you on Instagram.
So again, he just goes through talking about Cristiano again for a while, making introductions officially in the future for him.
C2's wrapping up. Boston's next. I love you all so much. Thank you again for everything you do for Black Flag. Thank you for listening to me on this tirade. And I promise you, anything I ever put out from Black Flag is going to be top quality, because you spend your energy, your time, and you make the choice to collect a Black Flag book. And I never, ever want to see you lose money on a Black Flag comic. I may lose money sometimes, But I don't want you to ever lose a cent. I want you to be confident when you buy from us. It's the best packaging, the best shipping, the best customer service, and the best possible comic you could ever get.
So I've never purchased anything from Black Flag Comics. I've got to believe that if something was truly wrong with an order, given how they've handled this situation, I strongly doubt that I would say they have the best customer service. This kind of owner entitlement usually does not go well. It usually goes with, well, that's not how I packaged it, so blame UPS or USPS or FedEx, whoever brought it to you. Again, not speaking from experience. If you guys have experience, you can let me know in the comments below, but it does not feel like the kind of ownership model that would support that claim.
I love each and every one of you. Thank you again for your support. Please pray for my family. I love everyone. With this massive prayer, I know God hears answers. He hears prayers, and God has answers for everything. So please pray for my family. I need it now more than ever. But right now, I'm still smiling and walking around. I'm going to get over here, and I'm going to help some people out with some comic books. I love you all, and I will talk to you when I get to Boston. Be on the lookout for the post. I'll do it later this week, explaining exactly how it's all going to work with the acetates there. I do listen, and I do care, and I know people are still going to hate on me because I'm not doing it limit 1 for the entire run. Guys, I love you. I can't help you. I can only do so much. So keep the hate coming. It just makes me better. Keep the love coming because it makes God happy.
So yeah, there you have it. Again, they've taken this down. I think company-wide, they probably don't all share this open, free thought of this gentleman here. We'll see, I guess, the conventions this weekend. We'll see if there have been any changes. Let me know if you guys have experience with Black Flag. Let me know if you've had personal experiences other than the C2E2 or if you're involved in it. Let me know in the comment section down below. Until next time, guys, though, Hobby Hero out.